Welcome viewing several to episode 3 of this thing, which is my little single board layout, which also will be modular. So the track is now down. Let's just move this. This is my Guinness 0% because it's middle of the week, so we're not having any real booze. Tastes the same. Right, so you can see here I've got 2 unifrog points, and this point, which is was originally an insel frog point. These are Y points, Pico Y points. This one is the one that I've wired up the frogs, and I did a demo in the last episode, and I've left it as an isolating point. So if I feed the power from this end, I can switch it and it will power this half. I'll switch it that way, it can power that half. None of the frogs are wired up yet, and I've just installed 1 point motor that's not wired up. The idea will be that I will have a switch that will connect these two, so it will effectively mean this is the same as them and it's not isolating. That gives me, if I want to run DCC, I mean I can still run DCC, but it means I can do a bit more with it. So this at the moment is in isolating mode, so I can run, if I switch it that way, we get that locomotive, and then if I switch it this way, we get this locomotive. So obviously I'm going to have some fiddle yard or something, or even just a head shunt going that way. I will probably put a buffer here and here, but I might actually have this so that I can put a board, I can extend it that way. Because it might eventually go into a loop somewhere. I'm just going to keep my options open. So the idea is, I originally was going to use this box, put that on there. It's a bit, there's plenty of room, but it's a bit tall, so I've got another one on order which will sit about that high, which will be better. I've got this panel that I did in Inkscape, and it's going to go on there. I haven't. It's got. You can see it's got the mimic, whatever they call it. That switch there is going to be the one that just joins those two, and then I've got 3 point switches and a push button to make. And the reason is because each of these switches is a double pole, double throw or single throw, and it's going to switch the point motor. And then you press that momentarily and it will it will actuate the motor, but on the other half of the switch it's going to supply the frogs off each switch, so it will switch the live frog accordingly. And the best way I thought to do that, without, if I'm using these motors, I didn't really want to put ones underneath, I can just do it with the other half of the same switch and then just press to connect, to switch the point itself. So that system was demonstrated on this point in my last episode of this series. So what I'm probably going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this and I'm going to mount this one onto a piece of card or plastic card, and I'll put the switches in, and that'll tell me if I've got the, I might have just did this by guesswork. If they're too close, I'll be able to tell if I can't switch them or whatever, and I can just space them out a bit more before I do the final one. So that's going to be on there, and there's going to be I'll just have the power, it'll all be wired underneath, and you're just going to be able to plug a controller in here which will have the track and then a couple of terminals for the AC supply to run the point motors, and then all you need to do is connect I'll just stick either some wires coming out of a box, or I haven't decided yet. Whatever I've got in my spares box, I've got a lot of connectors and terminals, so I'll just see what I can find without buying too much. So that's the plan. I'll just demonstrate it running. Let's just, so what you can do, bear in mind the frog points, the frogs are not live yet, so I can't run over super slow, and there's still some sticking, but that won't happen once I've wired up the frogs. And let's see, I've got to switch that one, so you can bring this down, and then you can either, if you're just working with one loco, you can just work with the one. Get me West Wagon, whatever it's called. West Hill Wagon Works. Well, that was, I should have kept hold of that, never mind. But you get the idea. Trying to do things one-handed. Yeah, so I can switch that back. And then I could bring this one in if I wanted. There we go. I'll stick that down there. Try the two-hander. Now, well, you get the idea. I can't do it while I'm trying to do it like this, but you know, you get the idea. But that's, yeah, so that's just a quick demo, and you can run it with DCC as well. So I put my that little DCC converted loco that I've got, is the Holden one that goes so, it crawls so slow, and once I get the frogs live, and I might need to, some of this track needs, it's just difficult to get it to line up. These are Pico and this is Hornby, but even on the Pico flexi track, it's code 100. I think the fish plates are a bit rubbish because there's always a bit of a rough step, so I don't know whether I'll get an emery board on that. I might do, because really what I'd like to be able to do is run really slowly, shunting really slowly over these. That's why I'm going to wire up the frogs and just see how slow I can shunt. I've managed to smooth out some of this so that the wagons are not too clunky over it. But I did run a Triang loco over this, and yeah, the wheels are too coarse for these little tiny bits here, and it, you know, it lifts up and it can short out as well. So I am going to be restricted to locos made probably after 1980 something, because the oldest early 70s ones and earlier, the wheels are just too big, the flange is too deep, and they're not, they just don't go through here. If you look at these, they're very small. The Triang points themselves, the old Super 4 ones, the frog is huge and extremely wide, and obviously they were never going to crawl over those, but that's for a different layout. So yeah, this is coming on, so the next job is to really check that the switch is in the right place, and then get it all wired up, and then hopefully I'll have the control box there, and I'll be able to just control all the points remotely and just play around with it really. And then the board going that way is just going to be another length of this, and I'll just be able to run things in and out, be able to bring in wagons. Maybe this is where they get filled, they get shunted around, and then a bigger diesel, maybe one of these, comes in and picks them up and takes them off the other board. It doesn't really matter. This is also, I'm going to be using this as a standalone just to muck about with and test any small locomotives that I'm repairing. So yeah, so that's that. So what I'm probably going to do is I'll probably put this away now, and let's just bring this one out, shall we? The mainline locos are so noisy. So there we go. that's it really for this episode. Next episode is I'll show it in action with everything wired up and all the points working, and give it a performance test with the live frogs and see how it goes basically, and then also demonstrate super slow running with DCC shunting. So that's that one. So the next thing, I might put this away for now, and then I do feel like I might get this thing going on a loop. This is I've just tested it. I've lubricated it and tipped some smoke oil into it, and it's running nicely, and the smoke machine is working. So I think I'd quite like to put this layout away now and set up a little loop and give this one a run. So maybe we'll do that next.